Welcome students to our today's class, and this class comprises of the automotive group, and the electrical group. So I think in my previous lesson I showed you how to set up the paper, because with the technical drawing we normally start with the setting up of the paper. So for now I want to show you how you draw the boundary line once you set up your paper. So assuming that this is your paper, assume this is your paper, which is over here. So first of all, I want to show you how you draw the boundary line of this particular paper. Then you perform the lettering here below. So first of all, you will take your compass. You will take this compass. Then you will measure. You will take your ruler. Then you will measure 10 millimeters, like this, 10 millimeters. Then you place it on that particular paper, like this. Then round, you draw a line all around. So we call this line the boundary line. And it should be thick. So you should use a thick pencil. So on top of that, you have to label your work. You have to write your name. So you have to draw the title block. We call this one the title block. This is the title block. In this title block, you have to write 3 major things. We have your name. You'll write your name. The other thing you write is your admission number. Admission number. Then, the third thing that you need to write is the title. The title of your drawing. So I've said that upon setting up your paper using this masking tape, for instance, if that is your masking tape, I've said you perform the following. If you have set your paper, you will draw this boundary line which is moving all around your paper. This is the boundary line. Then again you will draw the title block. In this title block, I've said you will write 3 major things. We have your name, your admission number, and the title of your drawing. And again, I've said the distance from the outside of this particular, let's say this distance from this place up to this point. This one, it should be 10 millimeters. Are we together? Then on top of that, you will draw some other inner lines which should be fed inside this title block. You can take a distance of 1 millimeter. They should be spaced with 1 millimeter from this line up to this line. So you will write your name here. And when it comes to writing of that particular title block, you have to use block letters. You have to use block letters. So for instance, if this is your title block, let's say it looks like this. Let's say it looks like this. So you will write your name, write here name, like this. they should touch that in a line. Then you put some semicolons. Let's say you are called Nicholas. You write Nicholas with very nice letters like this. Then you will draw a line to separate the name. Then from there you go to your admission number. You write ADM. Then you put some semicolons. Then you write your admission number. Then again you will write the title. You write title onwards. I think my space is too small. And then basically that is how you set up the paper. And I think we can now start with the demonstrations on the paper itself. So I said, first of all, I said that we'll demonstrate it on a paper. So first of all, I said this is your T-square, this one. This is the one that you use to set up your paper. And to set up your paper, you have to lay it such that it touches the bottom of this particular T-square, like this. So it should be horizontal with the T-square. Then you put the masking tape. You just, it should not just take up a bigger portion of the paper. So this is how you secure your paper. Like this. So you can see that I have set up my paper, and you can see that it lies horizontally. It is horizontal with my T-square. So this is the one that you use to set up the paper. So the paper is now already set. Now what is remaining is to draw the boundary line, which is drawn all around this particular paper. So you will take up your ruler like this, and you can see that it has a scale from 0 to 30 centimeters. So the boundary of this particular paper should cover 1 millimeter. It should be 1 millimeter all around. So you will take your ruler like this. Should take 10 millimeters, sorry. So like this, then you will mark all around 10 millimeters. This one is again 10 millimeters. So that is the boundary line. So from there you will take your T-square like this. So now you draw the boundary line like this. You take your T-square again. And I said that the boundary line should be big. like this. You also draw the other one. Then once you have drawn like that, you join the edges using a ruler or the set squares. Like this. You join the corners using the set squares. Now you can see that I have drawn by boundary line, and I said that the edges of the boundary line should be 10 millimeters apart. So from this distance up to this distance is 10 millimeters all round. Now what is remaining is to draw the title block, which is drawn below here, and the title block should be 10. It should be 10. Should be 10 millimeters. So again, you can also take a pair of canvas like this, then you measure, and you know that 1 centimeter is equivalent to 10 millimeters. So this is how you measure it. So this is now 1 centimeter. I've said it is equal to 10 millimeters. So now this is 10 millimeters. So you can come up here and put a mark like this. Then from there you take your T-square, and you can see that my T-square is able to move. So yours is just to move it like this. Then you draw the line. It should also be very thick. So now this is your title block, and I said that you have to draw some 2 inner lines inside this particular title block. This is the title block, and the inner lines should exactly be 1 millimeter. So I can measure, should be able to measure 1 millimeter like this. Then mark another 1 millimeter and mark. So that is 1 millimeter. So what you should do now, you should draw a very fade line like this. You should draw a faded line. So you can see that I have got 2 faded lines inside this particular title block. So now what is remaining is now doing the lettering. And this is how I do the lettering. So first of all, I said you have to write your name. Write the name. Then you put semicolons. Assume now your name is Nicholas. Nicholas. So this is now the name. Now, to separate this name from the admission number, I have to draw a big line separating the name. So this will be my admission number. I write ADM. Admission number, I put some semicolons here. Let's say, for example, it is KPC. Stock 0 7 stock 20 20. So you can see that this is your admission number. Now again you separate with a thick line. The thick line like that, and you can see that there is a difference between this thick line and this faded line. So you should note those two differences. So again, I said that you need also to get to write the title of your drawing. So you will write the title here. So this is the title. You put semicolons. Then, for example, we are dealing with this topic called the plane geometry. The title is plane geometry. Plane geometry. So you can see that I have the name now separated with a thick line, the admission number separated by a thick line, then the title of what you are drawing inside this particular paper. So this is how you set up the paper. You come up with the title block and you draw the boundary of the paper. And to draw the boundary of the paper, I said that you should take the distance from the edge of the paper up to where your line should lie to be 10 millimeters. Again, the distance from between this line and this line of the title block, it should be 10 millimeters. Then the distance from this thick line, because you have to draw two fended lines inside this title block, so you should take 1 millimeter exactly. You can even measure with your ruler, and you can see that your ruler is appearing in centimeters, so you should be able to convert centimeters into millimeters, whereby you know that 1 centimeter is equivalent to 1 centimeter is equivalent to 10 millimeters. You can also include it here in the title block. And in engineering, always we have to use millimeters. So this is the scale. Scale. 1 centimeter represent 10 millimeters. So once the scale is 1 centimeter represents 10 millimeters, and the distance, again I repeat, the distance from this dark line and this faded line, it is 1 millimeter. So you should draw the title block, or whatever you are drawing inside the title block, inside this faded line. You should not touch this block line. So you should not take note of that. So we are going to start with the drawing of lines. How you get to draw lines, how you draw the perpendicular line, you draw a parallel line, and the rest, and how to bisect arcs, circles, triangles to get centers and the rest. And if somebody tells you to bisect a line, what is to bisect? Let's say, for example, you have been given a line like this. To bisect a line like this, this is, for example, your line. How do you bisect this particular line to get a 90 degrees angle? So to bisect this line, so for instance, I've assumed this is my line. Let's assume it is something like 90 millimeters. Let me assume it's something like 90 millimeters. So what I should do, I will make an arc here. I will stand on this arc like this, then make another arc. So from this distance up to this distance, it is 90 millimeters. I'm just taking an example. So let's assume this is point A, this is point B. So to bisect this line, to get the center of this line and get to make a 90 degrees angle, this is what you need to do. Now that from A up to B it is 90 millimeters, so you will take your compass like this. Compass like this. You can even you can see that the distance will be too large. If I extend up, you can see where it is moving. So I can also reduce it like this. I also reduce it like this. Then I placing my compass at this point I've marked here. I make an arc. I also make an arc at the top. Then I will also transfer my compass up to this point and make another arc at the top, then another arc at the bottom. So you can see that the arcs at the top and the arcs at the bottom, they have crisscrossed each other. So now what you need to do, and something else before we move forward, all the arcs should be faded. They should not be big. You should take note of that. So you will take your ruler like this. You take your ruler and join these two. And join these two arcs like this with a thick line. So these particular arcs should not be very much visible at a distance. They should look fainted. So you can see that I've made a 90 degrees angle at this particular point. So that is how you bisect a line to get a 90 degrees angle. Now, for instance, let's say somebody has told you to draw two lines in parallel. How do you draw the two lines? Let's assume a distance of around again 90. A distance of 90 millimeters again. So I will place my canvas at 0 and take it to my 90. I'm just taking just an example. You just follow the values that you have been given. Let's say this is 90. This is my 90 millimeters. So first of all, I draw a given line like this. So you can see that my line is very dark. So I need to draw a line, another line which is parallel to this. So let's assume a distance of 90 millimeters like I measured here. So you will place your canvas at any point here. You make an arc. You come to that other arc. You make another arc. So from this distance up to this other distance, let's assume it is A. This is C. Let's assume this is our A, B. So from A, B is 90 millimeters. Now that I need to draw another line which is parallel to AB, this is what I need to do. So you can also be given a distance. Let's assume the distance from this particular line up to this other line, it is something like 40 millimeters. Like this. So I will place my canvas at B and make an arc. I also place my canvas again at A and make another arc. Now what is remaining? Again, what you need to do is simply to take a ruler and join the tops of those two arcs like this with a dark line. So you will draw a dark line. So you can see that on tops of those two arcs that I've made, have just drawn a dark line which is touching the tops of those two arcs. So this line and this other line is in their parallel in nature. You can also draw two parallel lines using this other method. Let's say for example, you draw a line like this. You can as well draw a line like that. You can also use a T-square to draw two parallel lines. You can use this one. Let's say for example, initially you had been given a distance from A up to B, something like again 90 millimeters. So from 0 you will measure, and you can see that your ruler is calibrated in centimeters. Remember to convert to millimeters. So this is 90 millimeters. So you will mark at any point. Let's assume you mark from there like this with the faded lines. The arcs should be faded like that. So this is A, this is B. Again it is 90 millimeters. So to draw another line which is from this line up to that other line to be something like 40 millimeters again. 40 millimeters. like this. I will just measure using my compass, then I get to transfer 40 millimeters. So I will just use my compass like this. I get to make an arc so that I may get to know where my line should pass through. Then using the same t-square, so you can see that this t-square is able to move this way. So what I should do, I should use this t-square to just move and slide it up to where I have that particular arc. So on top of that arc, I will draw a thick line like that. So this line is parallel to this line AB. This one I've used to draw these two lines. You can see that I've used a compass. To draw these other two lines, I've used a t-square. It's only that I've just marked with a compass here. Then I've slided my t-square. Then I've drawn that particular dark line. So that is how we draw lines. Somebody can also tell you to draw an angle, to draw a line or any given angle. Then you get to bisect and bisect and bisect until you get that particular angle that is required. So for instance, this is how we draw a 45 degrees angle, and a 90 degrees angle. And you can see that to come up with a 45 degrees angle from this 90 degrees, you can see that it is very simple. You just have to bisect this point C and B to get a line which is passing at the center of C and D. And if you bisect C and D, this angle which will be below here, it will be 45 degrees. So for instance, let's do that act. So you place your compass at the center. Let's assume this is center O. That is center O. So to come up with 45 degrees from center O, you will place your compass at the center of those two lines, where those two lines, those two thick lines bisect. So you will make an arc like this. You will also make an arc, and ensure that you master those arcs that you make. Then from that arc that you've made, you will place your compass on that particular arc. Then you extend it a little bit. You will also make another arc, and also place from the other arc that you crisscrossed and make another arc. Now you can see that the two arcs have crisscrossed each other. So what you need to do, you just have to take your ruler like this. So you should also draw another one here so that you may be efficient. So you will place your compass there again. Then you make an arc. You also make an arc. Then from those two arcs, you will place again your compass from those two arcs. Then extend a little bit. So we have arcs from C and B, and some other two arcs at A and D. So you will join those points whereby those two arcs have crisscrossed each other. So you will take up your ruler like this. Then you get to draw a thick line like this. So this angle, which is here, this one is 45 degrees. So somebody can also tell you to draw a 60 degrees angle. You can also be told to draw a 120 degrees angle. Now, how do you draw? And you can see that if you take your protractor, if you just place it there, exactly this is 45 degrees, this is 90 degrees. So that is how we draw different angles. So what I will do, I will show you how we come up with the 60 degrees angle. Let's try to draw 60 degrees angle. Let me assume a line like this. I've drawn my line. Let me take a distance of around me take a distance of around the best one is, let's see, 40. Let's say from point A to point B is 40 millimeters. So in conclusion, we may stop there at this lesson because I can see that time is gone. Then in our next class, after this, before I forget, I will send the procedure on how you draw different angles, different lines, and how you come up with the circles and the rest. So what I will expect you to do once I send the procedures to you, make sure that you use that particular procedure, you draw that particular angle like I've shown you. And going forward, I think we'll cover as many angles as possible because I want us to rush a little bit so that we may start our revision. After every topic, I will be uploading a past paper, so make sure that you solve it and bring it back to me. So thank you so much. With the little I've shown you, setting up the paper, drawing the boundary, coming up with the title block, drawing of the lines, bisecting a line, and drawing the arcs in fainted lines and the real lines in block in dark lines. Make sure that you get to note those. So try to set up the paper wherever you are. Look for a free space like this. Set up the paper using the procedure that I've used. Secure it using the masking tape. Draw the boundary line and try to draw some arcs. As I will give into some several examples I will just send to you before today. So thank you so much. Let's meet in our next class.